So this is take 2. I'm re-recording the whole video. I already went on for like 40 minutes in like the first take recording this video. I went on like a 40-minute fucking rant about this whole chapter 13. And I don't know, I kind of wanted to redo it because I was just watching Anel's video about his thoughts on the epilogue, and like it kind of made me self-conscious because he even with his video being unscripted, he still was like pretty concise and organized with his thoughts and had like certain things he wanted to talk about. So it's like, damn, like even without a script, he's still like getting to the point, and I'm just all over the goddamn place. So I'm gonna re-record the entire video and try to be a lot more concise. Like 80% of my fucking videos are just like filler of me saying whatever. So I want to try to bring that down, try to be more concise and on track and on point, and stop going on all these damn side tangents like I'm doing right fucking now. So we're gonna start the video. I beat Xenoblade X DE a couple days ago. Y'all already saw I have the videos up. I basically just played through all of chapter 13 here on the channel if you want to go look at that, and my reactions were definitely something to see. But this ending is very, very peculiar. All right, chapter 13 as a whole I very much enjoyed. I enjoyed it a lot more than the base game story. Which kind of makes sense because the base game, you know, the large focus was on exploring Mira, just exploration in general, and not much of a focus on story. Here in chapter 13, the main focus was story, so they had more time and resources to actually focus on the story and fleshing it out and other things like characters in the story as a whole. So I very much enjoyed it. I was super engaged and like interested the entire time. I couldn't wait to see what happened next at every single turn. Like it was scary how like hooked and attached I was to chapter 13. Like after I beat it, I didn't even want to play the game anymore. I just wanted like more lore. I didn't want it to end. I wanted more cutscenes with more lore, just more shit happening. I wanted to like to continue to experience this. I didn't even want to play the game. I just wanted to like watch it, if that makes sense. It's great. I really do like chapter 13, and there's a lot to talk about. Now, Alois Bernholt, my fucking goat. This fucking guy, bro. He's so funny. He's such a funny character. He's like the funniest character in Xenoblade X, okay? Like we were all led up to believe like this hero, this Black Knight, the lone hero who saved Mira, or the White Whale, along with what's her name, Elma. And like he was just this, we were just led to believe he was just this heroic guy, and like the cliffhanger from a whole fucking decade ago where him walking up to Lao and then like Lao opening his eyes, we're like heard so much about this mysterious lone hero, and then here he is in the epilogue and he's just some random normal goofy guy. But like, it's so funny, the main like hero that saved everyone, that everyone just absolutely loves. He's just some normal fucking clown, some normal goofball, okay? And then that fucking what's poppin' shit, at first I was like, okay, what is happening? Like when he first said it, like what's poppin', and oh terrible, oh better than you, that means terrific. The whole thing, like when he first said it, the whole thing went on. I was like, what is this? What is happening? That was fucking lame. What is happening? And then they just kept doing it over and over and over again. I was like, okay, this shit is really starting to get on my nerves. So every time someone said what's poppin', I was like, oh my god, here we go again. And it was just so overplayed. But then like the more it happened and the more forced it was, it kind of became funny in an ironic way. Not because like the joke was funny itself, but just funny that it existed. Just it was ironic just how many times it was said. So every time it was said, like I got more frustrated, but it became more funny, if that kind of makes sense. It was funny for the wrong reasons. But yeah, I really like Al. At first I didn't really like him. I thought he was just annoying, some normal fucking guy. But by the end of it, Al really grew on me. I really like him a lot as a character. Even though he's just some goofy guy, he really does care a lot about the people around him in the world, like Mira, and just creation and life as a whole. He just has a lot of care and a passion for it, and he really cares about those around him. Like Al, he's a very charismatic guy. All right, he's a cool person. He's a cool character. Now Void, he's kind of, I don't know. I feel like Void was a bit underwhelming. We got some lore on him, but most of it was through Al. Most of the lore we got on Void and a lot of like the character and backstory of Void was told through Al from when he was in the Rift, which is cool and all, but I feel like there is so much more we could have learned about Void. I don't know. I feel like he was kind of just like there as like an antagonist just to have an antagonist. And if you really think about it, he's more of like a more of like an active and like malicious Udo, if that makes sense. He's basically kind of like the Udo of Xenoblade X, yet he takes more of like a front and proactive role. Void, I enjoyed his backstory and how he came to be, but in the game itself, he didn't really do a whole lot of anything. If you think about it, the main threat of the epilogue wasn't even Void himself. It was the goddamn ghosts, which, I mean, I guess he did cause the ghosts to like show up, but like he was just kind of in the way. Our main threat wasn't ever really Void. It was the dematerialization events and like trying to get the fuck off this planet. It didn't really have anything to do with the Void. The only reason like he was there is because he had the Ares cores and we had to get him back from him. That was it. So he was kind of just there for the sake of being an obstacle. But I did like his lore a lot. And speaking of the Rift I mentioned earlier, it's basically the collective unconscious. Like, and in the Rift, it was there confirmed that Xenoblade X is connected to the main trilogy, but not directly. None of the games are directly connected to each other except for 3 being connected to 1 and 2. But even like Xenoblade 1 and 2 are indirectly connected. Like they're standalone stories, but they are connected to each other if you look into the lore a little deep enough. But Xenoblade X has nothing to do with the trilogy. It doesn't really like affect it at all, and the trilogy doesn't affect X. They're connected because they're all parallel universes to each other. Like the main trilogy is a parallel universe to X, which is how they're connected, just all in different dimensions in the same domain, if that makes sense. So while the games are connected, they're not like majorly connected. They're just in the same universe, which was we kind of already theorized that before Xenoblade XDE was even announced. But yeah, the rift that Al and Void were in is basically the collective unconscious from Xenosaga. And for those of you who don't know, the collective unconscious, once you die, so there are multiple domains in Xenosaga. There's the upper domain where Udo resides, and Udo is basically God, and then the lower domain where us humans and everything reside. So kind of think of it as like the real world and fucking heaven. Not exactly, and that's a bit contradictory because of X, but anyway, upper domain and lower domain, and the lower domain consists of 2 other domains, the imaginary number domain and the real number domain. The real number domain is our real physical world that we live in right now, all of us. This is the real number domain. And then the imaginary number domain is where the collective unconscious is, aka the rift. And once you die, your soul goes from the real number domain into the imaginary number domain and becomes part of the collective unconscious, hence the name. It is a collection of all of the souls and unconsciousnesses of everyone. However, if your soul rejects joining the collective unconscious, it becomes a gnosis. Now here, it functions similarly in Xenoblade X. When Al was saying how he could feel the consciousnesses of like all of the consciousnesses across all universes, like flowing into him all at once. He could feel all the consciousnesses all at once. That's because he was floating through the collective unconscious. The rift is the collective unconscious, even though it wasn't, directly called that. And that was all cool and everything, seeing the collective unconscious come back like from Xenosaga into Xenoblade X. That was really cool to see. The next like big like mind-blowing thing was the purple conduit. We all saw it, the purple conduit, when Al was explaining more of Void's backstory. The fucking Zohar, Void was a Sumerian scientist like messing around with the Zohar and created the Ares cores. The Ares cores were made using the power of the purple conduit, which is why the Ares is able to hop universes and basically like jump between universes, because it was made with the power of the Zohar, and only the Zohar has the power to hop universes. Now, as for that conduit, which I'm just going to call the Zohar from now on because it's basically what it is, there are a couple of theories about that Zohar, that purple Zohar, and what it means and what it implies. Now, if you notice, the purple color is a very deliberate choice, obviously representing Logos. And in Xenoblade 2, the conduit takes on more of a greenish yellow color, obviously representing Numa. So there's obvious color coding here, which means it's only a matter of time before we see a red conduit to represent Ontos. Now, this might be what Takahashi was talking about when he said, like, we'll learn more about what happened to Logos, or like Malos and what happened to the Logos core in the next game, because it was presumed to be in the Sword of the End, but we never actually saw the Aegis core. So maybe Logos got trapped inside of the fucking conduit and became a wave existence, kind of like the wave existence from Xenogears got caught in the Zohar. But there's theories that Zohar, so the main theory, or not main, there's two theories. One is that there is a Zohar for each individual universe, like each dimension, each universe has their own Zohar, each of just like a different color. That's why there's one in Xenoblade 2, the green one, and then the purple one here. Each dimension, each universe has their own conduit independent of the other one. But that, I mean, I guess that could make sense, but not really once you think about it more. The second theory makes a lot more sense, is that there's just one Zohar in all of existence, but it is kind of in all universes at once. Like Klaus said in his experiment, there's an infinite number of universes. Him doing his experiment caused an infinite number of universes to pop up. So obviously before all of that, there's still only the one conduit that he used. So since the conduit has the power, or the Zohar has the power to basically hop universes, like they said, it was like a meta universal, like a meta universe manifold, or whatever the fuck the exact words were. And Klaus says that the conduit is a gateway to other universes. So if the Zohar can like communicate to other universes, or is a gateway to get to other universes, it would make sense that there's only one, and that the pink and green, the purple and green Zohar or conduits are the same one. It's just that the Zohar is able to be in every possible universe all at once. Since it can basically, it is the gateway to, other universes. It transcends our laws of physics, the humans' laws of physics that confine the humans to our universe. Why would the Zohar be confined to our own laws of physics? Okay? Who's to say that the Zohar can't exist in every single other universe all at once, even though it's one physical thing? It would have that power. It's like a multi-universal meta-manifold, as they said, as Galea said, and like Klaus said, it is the gateway to other universes. So the purple and green Zohars are the same thing. And that would kind of explain some discrepancies with trying to fit Xenosaga into the main trilogy. It was like, oh, there's the Conduit and the Zohar. It's just the same Zohar, just being projected into every possible universe there is, which would make sense. And kind of talking about Xenosaga now, I was going to save this for later on in the video, but I want to kind of talk about it now. It seems like Xenoblade X could be the new continuation of Xenosaga. I know before me and other saga truthers were saying how Xenosaga would be fitting into the main trilogy, but if you think about it, Xenosaga kind of fits better into the X kind of like continuity now. There's already a lot of similarities to Xenosaga in Xenoblade X now that we have chapter 13. First off, they both have like insane technology. In Xenosaga 1, like we have all the space stations, these spaceships, fucking URTVs, Realians. We have all this insane fucking tech thanks to the Zohar. And in Xenoblade X, we also have a ton of insane tech with like the quantum mainframe of the Life Hold Core, the Ares, and a ton of other technology from like the Manon. And like the Samarians were like the top of the top, like super technologically advanced, had control over 6 million light years. Like they were top of the top. But even the Manon are more technologically advanced than the Samarians were. So you can only imagine how insane their technology is. They both, so Saga and X both had insane technology. So did the main trilogy, mainly Xenoblade 2, but it's a lot more advanced in Xenoblade X. Not only that, Xenoblade X literally has the collective unconscious. Even though it's not directly called that, it's basically the collective unconscious. Okay. And thirdly, the ghosts are very similar to the Gnosis. Now, if X were to be connected with Saga, that would have to have some reworking, maybe. Actually, maybe not, because the ghosts are, we're told that is like the universe's corrective system. So once Void started fucking with the Conduit, the ghosts appeared. So it's they're kind of like a natural phenomenon from the universe itself to kind of correct everything. It's weird because wherever the ghosts go, they just completely destroy everything. Like any universe they show up in, they end up destroying that universe, which is kind of counterintuitive if you kind of think about it. As a corrective system, you'd assume they'd be there to like maintain equilibrium and restore balance, but they just completely destroy any universe they show up in. So it's kind of weird in that aspect. But the ghosts are like the universe's corrective system. But then Gnosis, they are formed when you die, your soul goes to the collective unconscious. If your soul rejects the collective unconscious, you become a Gnosis. And even though they're very, very similar, they can't really be the same thing because we don't really know what forms a ghost, like how a ghost comes into existence. They obviously don't just come out of nowhere. They have to come from somewhere. So I was thinking maybe they are Gnosis. They work like Gnosis. If your soul rejects joining the collective unconscious in like Xenoblade X, then you become a ghost. But we don't see any ghosts anywhere until they like physically pop up. So it's like, oh, they could just be residing in the imaginary number domain, aka the collective unconscious, until like the Zohar is used and then they come into the real number domain. But if that were the case, then I'm sure Al would have encountered some ghosts in the rift while he was there, but he didn't. So where are the ghosts coming from? Maybe I'm thinking too far into it, and maybe Saga is not connected to X at all, but perhaps the ghosts in Gnosis are the same thing, or maybe they're fucking not. Because if you think about it, every time a Gnosis is created, the collective unconscious becomes more unstable. And everywhere the ghosts go, they destroy that universe. But now that I'm thinking about it, there's only one collective unconscious. There's an infinite number of universes, but there's only one collective unconscious that connects all of those universes together. So maybe I'm thinking too deep into it, and like the similarities of the ghosts in Gnosis just stop at their behavior. But yeah, maybe X is going to be like the continuity that's connected to Xenosaga. And one thing that can make that possible is the fucking planet at the end. Now, this is the most controversial part, and this is why like people are so like divided, because well, there's two reasons. One reason is because of the planet at the end. At the end, we see the White Whale 2 going to land on the brand new planet after they come through like from hyper jumping from like the Mira universe into a new universe where this planet is at. But before that, if you notice, while we're gate jumping to this new universe, it seems like we're like going between two other universes, a red and a blue, and then they join together to become purple, like you see in this cutscene, and then we make it to the new universe. If you remember in Xenoblade 3, when the 1 and 2 universes were joining back together, one was red and one was blue. So I'm not really saying anything, but this has to be an intentional thing. Takahashi doesn't really do coincidences or like oversights. Everything he does is a deliberate choice. So I'm not really trying to say anything. The color coding here is very intentional, having the red and blue on each side and then conjoining into the purple. So this could perhaps mean that Xenoblade X will be more directly connected to the main trilogy in the future, and the next game is, you know, X and the main trilogy like becoming one. I'm not really too sure. I'm not going to really expand on that. That's not really what I want to focus on. That might be a whole separate video, but I just thought that was interesting to notice. But this planet, we come out and we find the new planet. We're landing on a new planet. The final cutscene is the White Whale 2 going towards this new planet. But as you can see, this planet very clearly and obviously has rings, and these rings is what is causing such a huge divide in the community, because people are thinking, oh, the ending to XDE is obviously the one in Future D, because look, the boosters, like the jet boosters, I guess, on the White Whale 2 are blue. So the blue light falling towards the recombined planet in Future Deemed is obviously the White Whale 2, which it would not be a bad guess. But if you look, Future Dean planet doesn't have rings, but this one does, and that is a very deliberate choice that Takahashi chose to make. All right, and this is, I highly doubt this is something they just added in afterwards, like while they're developing the chapter 13. I'm sure Takahashi already had the idea of chapter 13 and like already kind of, if not already in development while Xenoblade or Future Dean was in development, I'm sure he had like a general idea of what he wanted chapter 13 to be like. So chapter 13 was in mind while they were making Future Deemed. So he intentionally left out rings in the Future Deem ending or added them in XDE. Like, this is a deliberate thing. He knows what he's doing. This isn't just like, oh, well, maybe they just thought about it afterwards. I highly doubt that. So this can't be the Future Deemed ending, because that planet very obviously doesn't have any rings. But interestingly, at the end of Xenosaga 3, when Cosmos is falling towards Lost Jerusalem, we see something sticking out of the planet. Now, initially, I and a lot of other people thought this could just be a space elevator, but with the context of XDE and just like everything going on about Xenosaga right now, those could actually be rings around Lost Jerusalem. It is very hard to tell because just the low quality of the cutscene. This is a game from the PS2 way back in 2006. It's not going to be the greatest quality, so it's kind of hard to make out in detail what that is around or sticking out of the planet. It could be a space elevator, it could be rings. And if that's the case, then that kind of soft confirms that the White Whale 2 is landing on Lost Jerusalem, and then they meet Cosmos and we start Xenoblade or Xenosaga 4. So maybe instead of Xenoblade 4 being like the retelling and continuation of Xenosaga being the retelling of what Xenosaga 4 was supposed to be, like a lot of us have been saying, maybe X is going to be the continuation of Xenosaga. So maybe X2 is going to be the Saga 4. And this would be like the perfect way to do it. They're landing on Lost Jerusalem just like Cosmos was floating towards. But also, the planet in Xenogears that the Eldritch lands on also has rings. Now this probably doesn't mean anything at all, because we know Square, Xenoblade, or even hell, Xenosaga for that matter, will probably never be connected to Xenogears because it's fucking Square. So that probably doesn't mean anything. But if that thing sticking out of Lost Jerusalem at the end of Saga 3, if that's actually rings, then there's a high probability that the White Whale 2 is landing on Lost Jerusalem, and that will be how Xenosaga continues. And this is what I was talking about earlier when I said the connections between Saga and Xenoblade X. If that is Lost Jerusalem, there's already pretty big similarities between X and Saga that would kind of make it work. Like I said, the Gnosis and the Ghost, the collective unconscious, all the like insane technology and like space travel and all of that. So it would fit in pretty well, and a lot of the things that would have been retconned, because fitting Xenosaga in with Xenoblade X would have been very difficult. There was a lot of retcons that would need to be made, like how there are no such thing as aliens in Xenosaga. Aliens don't exist in Xenosaga, but Mira is packed full with aliens. That was like a really big thing of how X couldn't be connected to Xenosaga, and therefore the main trilogy, if Saga was connected to the main trilogy. But now that doesn't even matter anymore, because we hopped to a new universe where maybe aliens don't exist, and we land on Lost Jerusalem, and like still there's no aliens in Xenosaga, any of the 3 games. So how could like that be Xenosaga if we brought aliens with us to the new universe? Easy. Well, like we don't really know what Xenosaga 4, 5, and 6 were going to be like, so perhaps there were aliens out there that we had just never seen before. And like I said, we never got 4, 5, and 6, so there's not really like a set thing we can go off of. So if Xenoblade X2 is the next, is like the telling of Xenosaga 4, aliens being there would be just fine. Or maybe it would, wait, I'm confusing myself now. Either way, Xenoblade X2 could be Saga 4. Saga could be connected to X. And kind of talking about that, right now is a really big time. Okay, I completely forgot to record this part in the initial recording, but I mentioned the second reason why this kind of divided people, this whole epilogue divided people, because this epilogue was very controversial and it like divided the community. The second reason is because of Mira itself. The entire game, the base game of Mira, we were led up to believe that something about this planet, there's something weird, strange, almost supernatural about Mira itself, because there's many things that don't make sense. Before the epilogue, before we knew about everything, the Lifehold Core, it was destroyed once we got to Mira, but somehow everybody is still alive in their mimizomes even though the Lifehold Core is destroyed. There's no way we should all still be alive. What the hell is that about? And it turns out it had nothing to do with the planet at all. It was because what's it called, Lifehold Core, somehow, some way, very, very slim chance, damn near impossible, somehow, some way, the Lifehold Core computer, the database, was connected to the collective unconscious, somehow came in contact with the collective unconscious, and all of our consciousnesses were transferred from the Lifehold Core into the collective unconscious. Basically, as soon as we like got into this universe, because if you paid attention, the universe with Earth in it is different than the one with Mira. So once once Earth was destroyed and we saw Earth explode, the entire universe was destroyed along with it, and we got pushed into another universe, which we then landed onto Mira. So as soon as we got into this universe, somehow the Lifehold Core came into contact or was like linked with the collective unconscious, and all our souls and our consciousnesses were basically transferred over there. So the Lifehold Core mystery was solved. It had nothing to do with the planet at all. And then the second one is, how is Mira auto translating? How is Mira Like, how are we able to understand all of the alien races? How is everyone able to understand each other? How is Mira auto-translating? And I have a theory that it wasn't even Mira at all. Well, obviously, because we can still understand like L and the Manon, the Napon and everything in the new universe, even after even after Mira itself was like destroyed, even after we left Mira, everyone can still understand each other. And my theory is that it's not Mira, but the collective unconscious. Once the Lifehold core came into contact with the collective unconscious and all of our consciousnesses were absorbed into the collective unconscious, we were able to understand all the alien races. Because the collective unconscious is, as the name implies, a collective unconscious. All of the consciousnesses of every living or dead being across all universes join in the collective unconscious as one collective unconscious. So like we all join into one big blended together consciousness. So if you think about it, we're all like connected and we're all as one. So we would be able to understand the alien races because we are basically part of them. So like everything about them is in the collective unconscious and we kind of blend with that. So we kind of become them, if that makes sense. If you like really think about it, it kind of makes sense. We're like spiritually connected, so we're able to understand what they say. I'm not sure how much sense that makes, but that's something I wanted to mention. But yeah, we didn't really get to learn Mira, anything about Mira at all. We had just got here. We haven't even been there for however long we were on Mira. We landed there, we solved the Lifehold core mystery, and then like not even days later, here come the ghost fucking destroying it. So now we have to leave Mira and hop to another universe. We didn't really get to learn anything, and that like really turned a lot of people off because we spent the entire time of Xenoblade X, the main game, exploring Mira and trying to figure out its mysteries, and then here comes chapter 13 where we just have to leave it behind and go to a whole new planet. Like, we learned nothing about Mira, none of the mysteries about it were expanded upon. We're just up and leaving and forgetting about it. So it's kind of jarring because we had all this attention on Mira and all these mysteries pointed towards Mira just for us to have to abandon everything. So I can understand why a lot of people didn't like the epilogue, because what the fuck, what's happening to Mira? Why are we just leaving? So that makes a lot of sense. This is like the prime time for Takahashi to connect all of Xeno, like Saga and Blade together, including X, like X, the trilogy, and Saga all in one big Xenoverse, no Dragon Ball. Excluding Gears, sadly, because Square, but it kind of, there's been a lot of Xenosaga connections recently with Xenoblade X. Like there's a lot of like Xenosaga theming in there already, as well as Future Redeemed hinting heavily at Xenosaga and a bit at Xenoblade X. So it kind of seems like Takahashi is trying to connect all three of them together in one big universe, which would be very, very cool to see. Like one big Xeno game, kind of like Smash Ultimate, everyone is here. But it's kind of like heartwarming, because after 30 plus years, Takahashi is finally able to kind of like tell the story that he wants to. He's finally bringing everything together like he's been trying to way back with Xenogears or 1990, whatever the fuck. So it's kind of cool to see. I feel like the next Xeno thing is going to be the biggest thing we've seen for the series like ever. Okay, bigger than Xenosaga, bigger than Xenoblade. The next game is going to be him combining Xenoblade and Xenosaga together. I can just feel it. The next game is going to be fucking huge. Like there's so much hinting towards a big like recombination with Future Redeemed, now X. So there's very, very huge implications for this future of the series with Future Redeemed and X. So we're just gonna have to wait and see what he's doing with that, and I cannot wait. I know the next game is going to be massive in a way no one's thought of before. So we just gotta let the genius do his genius. Takahashi knows what he's doing, and he damn sure knows how to blow people away and subvert our expectations. So he's just being a villain right now, like twiddling his fingers, doing a little maniacal laugh. He knows what he's doing. He's whipping up some shit, and I can't wait to see what it is. But yeah, hopefully this rant was a lot shorter than my last one. I highly doubt it. I tried to keep it concise and I still went off on tangents. God fucking damn. Anyway, I have more Xenoblade X like DE videos planned, like lore videos, more discussion videos and all of that, speculation videos, and those are going to be a lot more organized and concise and just a more to the point. This one I kind of just wanted to be just like a big video where I just dump all of my thoughts about it out, just dump all the thoughts I have on Xenoblade X chapter 13, the whole epilogue and everything. I just wanted to dump it all into one video because I've been wanting to talk about this for so long and I've had so much to say about this damn epilogue and what it could mean. So this video is kind of just like my journal where I just dump out all of my thoughts about this and just see what y'all have to say. So this video was kind of all over the goddamn place and just very messy. My future like discussion and like lore videos are not going to be like this. So this was just like I needed to get everything out and it just came out in a jumbled mess, which is fine. Because sometimes it's fun listening to Crackpot just like ranting about the series. I love this series to death, I really fucking do, and I really enjoyed this epilogue, so I had a lot to say. But I'm very passionate about the series, so I have a lot to say. But yeah, the next videos, like the upcoming videos, are not going to be this like fucking unhinged. So please bear with me, and plus, longer videos are better anyway. Fix your TikTok attention spans, you goddamn children. Anyway, that's about it. See you next mission. Play some goddamn Xenoblade.